I think when people are displaced, they don't necessarily leave a physical recording of their presence. They're in a tumultuous time, they're on the run. And so often historically, these like massive displacements of people can be overlooked. So this is a technique called aquatint, and it's a means of gradually building up a negative on a plate. It's about patience and sustained looking at an image. In 1945, my grandmother was at the age of 17 when she was compelled to flee her hometown in eastern Germany. Her family took whatever possessions they could carry in a small handcart and set off on this journey, moving 400 miles on foot through the blistering cold winter. And what she carried with her on the way were these incredible photographs, which came into my possession when she shared them with me. These tiny images revealed her home and this life that she had, her childhood, and effectively her childhood ended when she was compelled to flee. And so I was incredibly inspired by these photographs to emphasize and make a monument to these images. And the best way to do that, was to etch them into metal.
Yeah, the red dot.
Well, as far as the specific social context of the image is concerned, this one comes from a body of research that I was doing out in Arizona to visit the Hopi tribe in the Third Mesa. And members of that tribe in around 1910 had protested against an act which deported Native American children from their schools. The children were compelled to go here with state troopers enforcing them, and then they were given a new name and they cut their hair and a new religion. This kind of massive cultural dislocation. And the results of this protest were that about 14 of their men were sent to Alcatraz prison. And the thing that really struck me about the Bulgarian photo album was just, and other albums that I've come across as well, was just, what the circumstances were that that tore those images out of that family, which, the images should still be with them.
So how many of them survived the war?
What the hide is about for me is, celebrating the exuberance of childhood, and that is reflected in the bed sheets that cover the exterior of the structure. In this image, you can see Gunter Kaida, and this is my grandma. This was her childhood sweetheart when she was 16, 17. And Gunter was conscripted into what was called the Volkssturm, which was a division which Hitler formed right at the end of the Second World War, and it was a division made up of young boys and old men. Gunther was tragically killed, but by placing him, this plate that I've made representing him, next to one of my grandmother, they can have a dialogue that way. The images in the hide, they range from a photograph that I took in Chernobyl into Carlisle, Pennsylvania in the United States, Penryn, Cornwall, Germany, and Bulgaria.